Bonjour, hello, I'm Sandra from Ma Petite Pâtisserie. That means my little pastry from Paris. So I was born in Paris and raised in Paris. And I have this love story with sourdough that started as a little girl. As I was going to school, I was taking that beautiful street named Rue du Rendezvous. We would say hi to everybody where I was going to school. We knew the baker, of course, and that baker was amazing. He was making this sourdough bread in a wood oven, traditional. The smell of it was filling up the whole street, and there was a line outside the baker shop where everybody was waiting for their bread. And of course my father would be one of them, and when he was coming back home, that was such a celebration. There was just the smell of it, the view of it, and the sound of the crack when we would cut a little piece of it was just wonderful. That's how I started to fall in love with sourdough. So my passion was nutrition. That led me at the university to a PhD in nutrition. There was something that led me to stop it is I love animals, and I was doing research on them. I was even a vegetarian since I was 17 years old because of my love for animals. So it didn't match up with me. So one of my stays in Arizona, I met this French gentleman that gave me this idea of becoming a pastry chef. And it was really out of my mind at all. I mean, it was so far from me. But then that little seed grew into my mind, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, but my own way. So this is how this led me to becoming a pastry chef. I came back to France, found a school of pastry, traditional French, learned everything I could there. I decided to convert everything into gluten-free, dairy-free, organic, and the healthiest way you can imagine, and also so delicious. First, before I decided to convert everything into gluten-free, I made some research personal myself. I realized that gluten was really unhealthy actually for most of the people. People started to have problems, and I wanted to dig into it. I started my pastry, Ma Petite Pâtisserie. It was called Ma Petite Pâtisserie sans gluten, so gluten-free in French, in Paris. And I was working in that little shop where I was selling my own pastries. I was in love with Arizona, so I had this connection with that, and I stayed sometimes back and forth. And I met my husband there. So he said, well, you're gonna do this same adventure, but back in Arizona. So I came here and I started to do the farmers market. I was doing everything in my little kitchen that is right behind me. So I decided that given that my sourdough bread, gluten-free, was so successful, and some people were asking me, why don't you sell your sourdough starter? Like this, I can do something. And so I decided to do it. And so I'm starting to dehydrate that sourdough starter and make the flour mixes for you with all the instructions, with lots of love and gratitude vibrations I put in that. The reason why I chose those ingredients, very simple, in that flour mix for making your own bread, it's because there's science behind it. There's only 4 ingredients, all organic: brown rice flour, chickpea flour, chia seeds, sea salt, filtered water, of course. So first, the combination of chickpea flour and the brown rice flour makes that all the essential amino acids are all together. And given that it's vegan, anybody can eat that and having, full protein. The chia seeds, there's omega-3s, of course, but it's also full of protein, so it adds another layer of, complete protein with that. The sea salt is also naturally dried, and so you have all the micronutrients in there. That is amazing. The sourdough will add another dimension to it compared to baker's yeast, where you rise your bread within minute. It takes a little longer, but it's actually a unique ecosystem adapted to its environment. So what is sourdough? It's a mix of flours with water that is fermented with naturally occurring microorganisms. And those microorganisms will make wonders actually for your bread and nutrition. So first, it will break down the proteins that will reduce the potential toxicity of the protein. And with so many people can have this kind of sensitivity about a protein, it will also make super bioavailable all the free amino acids that contains the mix, and also it will make it super digestible. And also the glycemic index will decrease dramatically, so it makes it super interesting for people with pre-diabetes or diabetic people or anybody that wants to be healthy. And I made it easy for you in the form of a kit with a sourdough starter, dehydrated, and with a flour mix that is with the instruction that's going to be so easy for you to make at home and feed your family with it. And finally, and above all, it has a wonderful effect on the flavor. It makes it super delicious.